Welcome to the A.M.P podcast, where we delve into the inspiring stories of entrepreneurs, motivational coaches, and business leaders. Join us as we hear about their journey to success and the challenges they faced along the way. We'll uncover their secrets to perseverance and determination and gain valuable insights into what it takes to reach your goals. The journey may not be beautiful, but it is always purposeful. So sit back, relax, and be ready to be inspired by those who have dared to dream big and make it a reality. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new A.M.P, the A.M.P podcast. And today we have an amazing guest. This gentleman is a speaker, author, sales consultant who has achieved remarkable success in sales, has over 20 years of experience in hyper competitive sales environments. Let me introduce to you this man that also has a fabulous book out right now called Selling with Dignity. The one, the only, Mr. Harry Spaight. How are you doing today?
I'm doing even better than I was after hearing that. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on and sharing your journey and the awesomeness that you're providing to the community, and sharing your knowledge and sharing, tidbits and telling people, you're going to do sales, let's do it with some dignity. And we're going to get into the whole reasons behind that. So, Harry, I like me a good old origin story as a good old comic book fan, let me ask you here. Tell us a bit about yourself, where you originally from, and early inspirations in life that led you onto an entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, so I am originally from the great state of Massachusetts, where
All
the
right.
hills reside, the western Massachusetts side. So I actually pronounce my R's.
Okay. But the weather's still the same. Well, it's like, if you don't like it today, wait until tomorrow a little bit, because apparently
Exactly.
it was 90s on the Friday, 40s on the weekend, and it's like, what is going on in this world that we live in today?
Yes. In fact, we got married outdoors, my wife and I, early October, a long time ago.
Oh,
And the
wow.
week before, 70 degrees, sunny and beautiful. The day we got married, snow flurries in the low
Of
30s.
course. Of course.
Yeah,
Thank you, Massachusetts.
yeah, it's the New England way. It's what we're used to.
It,
So
it, it definitely is.
yeah.
It really is the most bipolar weather I've ever dealt with in my life.
Bipolar weather. It's true. All right, so I forgot what the question was, because we could go
Oh,
talk about New England.
it's funny, yeah. But you're OG for New England, and talk about early entrepreneurial motivation. I mean, what was it in your early life that kind of led you towards the path that you went on?
Yeah, so I may not be your stereotypical entrepreneur. So what I did coming out of high school is I was in job mode. So I went to a whole bunch of places, found different jobs I didn't like. And then one of those jobs was painting houses and doing office cleaning with a friend of mine. And he just couldn't stand the business. So he said, "Would you like to buy me out?" And I went, after I talked to a bunch of people, there's no entrepreneurs, no
Yeah.
solopreneurs in my family, but I've talked to a few people. They said it's a good deal. So I did that for
Okay.
about 10 or 12 years. And then
Okay.
went into mission work. I sold that. My wife and I went into the mission field, and we spent a
Well,
couple of
when did
years.
when did you meet wifey that you guys started going into business together and doing mission work and whatnot? What is this?
Yes,
When did that happen in your
that
journey to find
happened
someone
in
like-minded?
yes, that happened in my mid-20s.
Okay.
My wife was a pretty Vermont girl. She still is a pretty Vermont girl. I better be careful with the was. And
Yes, very much as a married man, please choose your words wisely. We want
yes,
to see
exactly.
Harry's next book.
Yeah. And so my favorite comedy moment with my wife was I asked her to dance, and she said, "Could you get me a drink?" So I went to the bar, came back, and she was dancing with someone else. So I'm holding
Oh,
two drinks next to the dance floor, looking at this young, pretty girl, saying, "Was this just a play for me to get her a drink?" But we
Yeah.
got married literally a year later, and it's been the
What?
best. It's been the best 3 years of
Oh,
my life.
so Harry put it on. He said, "Hold on, there ain't no disrespect in this game." So he put the drinks down, hit the dance floor, doing his John Travolta moves, and it was a wrap, right?
Exactly. Of course,
Yeah.
you know my moves.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So, uh,
Uh-oh.
talk about talk about the journey as an entrepreneur, then stepping in. When you stepped in, like what era were you stepping into these journeys, and was it difficult at all? What would you say was one of the biggest hurdles at the time?
Yeah. So I'm going to go into my sales career because I think that's probably most relevant. When we left the Dominican Republic, I felt like I didn't want to go back to do the janitorial work anymore. So I looked for an opportunity in sales. And in
Okay.
sales, when you approach sales the right way, it is all about running your own business. It's not
Wow.
about salaries. It's 100% because you don't get really a salary. You get a draw and you have to make your own empire. And I failed
Absolutely.
miserably in the beginning, but because I had very little business acumen. I mean, I
Okay.
spent the last couple of years I was in the Dominican Republic hardly with any power.
Well, what do you
And
mean? So wait. You were living in DR?
yeah, yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait. How did you, Harry, go from Mass to DR?
So the story is my wife and we were not well off financially, right? We did the mission work locally, but then we were on the beach one day and I said to her, wouldn't it be great to live in a tropical island? And literally, Al, within inside of a year, I had sold my business and we were living in the Dominican Republic.
Oh wow, just
Uh,
like that.
One-way tickets, mind you. So the boats were
Wow.
burned, and then it was we lived there a couple of years, but it was the best experience ever. I mean, if
Wonderful.
I totally encourage people to give that stuff a try.
Oh, wonderful. So, what did you learn from being there? And when you made the decision to say, I'm coming back, and I'm going to build my empire." What was
Yeah,
it in DR that woke you up? Was it that mango in the
yeah,
mornings?
mango. Yeah. All right, mango, which is green plantains,
Yeah,
boiled and then mashed up like potatoes with garlic, served
yeah,
with
man.
red onions. Man, that
Yes.
stuff is money.
Hey, you feel like a horse all day. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's funny. But yes, I learned hospitality, one thing, because you just brought up the mango.
Yeah.
We got fed everywhere. I mean, I don't
Oh,
care how
yeah.
poor the people were, they all wanted to feed us, which was awesome. I learned a ton about hospitality because I'm from New England,
Yeah.
right? We didn't understand hospitality. We didn't talk to people that were strangers in New
Yeah.
England. So just the whole outgoing, everybody's your neighbor,
The
that
vibe. Yeah.
just changed me dramatically,
Wonderful.
right?
For the
And so,
positive.
yeah, for the positive, right? Because you go back to New England, it's like you just try to talk to a stranger and they look at you like, what planet
Uh,
are you
get
from?
out
Don't
of
talk to me. Exactly.
here.
So yeah, so that was a great thing. And then just the
Wonderful.
overall, just the love for life. And you learned that you don't need, I mean, money is nice, but people who can be in abject poverty
Yes.
can be super happy. So,
Love,
right?
love, love is the most
Exactly.
valuable thing, man.
You got it. So yeah, lots and lots of lessons. I did learn that I wanted to be near medical treatments because people who lived in the mountains and got sick lived, they had to walk for miles to get to the
What?
road. And there are
Yeah,
people
it's
that
true though.
died.
Yeah.
They died
Oh,
at very young ages on stuff
oh,
that could have been saved in the States. It was just sad
oh.
because of, I mean, there's poverty. And I remember just a quick caravan story. Four guys carrying a stretcher on their shoulders with a person on the stretcher. And they're coming down out of this mountain area onto the road. And I was with my Dominican friend and I said, "Hey, Nelson, ¿qué eso?" And I was like, "What's that?" He says, "Ambulancia." That was the
Oh wow.
ambulance, right? Four
Wow.
people walking. I don't know if the person made it, but that's not where, that's not
Wow.
necessarily a healthy place to be.
Absolutely
If you need,
not. You know what I mean? Especially when they gotta wear the siren as a hat. You know what I mean?
right, right,
Not
when you,
not joking, but I mean that's how it feels out there, and it's crazy. It's crazy how
yeah,
they're our neighbors essentially, and yet right, it's like a third world in some areas. They share an island with Haiti that are going through their issues. So it's like
yeah,
you know what I mean? Damn, they definitely need more positive help, but of politics always get in the way of being good humans, unfortunately.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so when I got into sales, I took really my love for people and my servant mindedness and just went after it hard because I knew how to work hard and learned. I mean, I learned how to adapt to people real well in the Dominican Republic. So adapting to corporate buyers um, wasn't that difficult, right?
Right?
Because
It's just
people are people.
navigating. Yeah,
It's navigating. Yeah.
yeah, it's all a navigation, and just all right. Just taking a moment for me, in my own experiences, just taking a step back. All right, let me analyze. Especially like you said, in our community, we're very friendly. We always like to observe first, right? So
Hmm.
have this moment to observe. All right, dig the energy. Let's go. This I'm gonna dive in, and boom. Next thing you know, everybody's loving us.
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you brought that spice back to the states, Harry. So how did that positively affect that sales game, though? How soon did you see positive, like change?
Yeah, it was about a 6 month process from going from zero to semi, not hero, but hero and the journey, where I went from complete fail. So I was in a sales bullpen. So if anyone's familiar with Boiler Room, Glengarry Glen Ross, Wolf of Wall Street, where there's a bunch of guys making calls, managers are in each corner,
I
guys are
did that.
going up to them, right? So I'm in that, right? So a few
Oh,
months
I
earlier,
understand.
I was in the Dominican Republic riding my motorcycle around with my wife. Then I am elbow to elbow in a boiler room making calls. So I stuck out. I sucked, to put it mildly, because I just didn't want to make calls next to people breathing on me. It was
Literally,
not
yeah.
me. But I learned to adapt, right? Because if you live in another country, you have to adapt. I learned to adapt, and then after several months, I was building my camaraderie within the team, right? As I still stood out, but I talked to people. I ended up getting internal leads, and those leads led to sales because I knew how to take care of people. And I
Beautiful.
remember the big lesson, Al, was I was servant minded and I said, I'm going to be the best dang salesperson there is as far as customer service is. I may not know enough as everyone else does or know as much. I may not have the skill sets as far as business acumen, but I can serve. And I rode that service to, great incomes and sales leadership and
Wonderful.
VP of sales and all that
Oof.
stuff. Yeah.
Man, so how was that ride for you as you kept hitting every plateau? I mean, it just, using that energy. How
Yeah.
did you feel?
Yeah, I felt like, well, this was a goal because, coming from a small town, like I came from a small factory town in Massachusetts, right? So people were all blue collar. My dad was an engineer, but all of my friends, their dads worked in the factory. Okay, so I even tried to work in the factory. So it's just, this is the life. So when I eventually got into sales and I started making money, and then people started looking at me as a leader, even though I wasn't, but I was older, I had skills. And so they would ask me questions. Then I realized I liked working the room. I liked the bullpen and I liked helping others. And I got put into positions of leadership. I failed at first and kind of demoted a little bit, and then went back at it a couple of years later, and maybe a year later, actually. And then with a new mindset of this is how you do it. You serve people. You don't bark orders. You don't wait for, you don't expect that everyone's like me because that was a big problem, right? I expected everyone is sort of like a basketball, like Larry Bird or something. Not that I was Larry Bird, but you get the idea. You go in from playing and then coaching, and it's like, you guys aren't working as hard as I did. You have to
Right.
work harder, right? And so I struggled at first, but eventually I learned that there's a lot of coaching involved in managing, not just it's not managing, it's coaching, it's leading. And then that led to other opportunities. And before long, I was 2 blocks from the White House,
Oh,
you know,
what?
small town
What?
Massachusetts guy, 2 blocks from the White House. And I'd
What?
walk around the White House every morning. And I felt like I was living the dream. This is the
Oh,
coolest
heck
thing
yeah.
ever.
Heck yeah, man. So you doing this journey and all. When did the journey of you wanting to start sharing the knowledge begin?
Yeah. So, you know how sales is like hyper competitive,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
do I know? I mean, I worked in a telecom company for a bit.
Yep.
Man, these salesmen were rabid,
Exactly.
rabid.
Exactly. So you
And I did,
didn't,
and
okay. Crap.
I also did a boiler room thing, as you said, in Wall Street back in the day. So
Okay.
I know that feel. I know that. I
Yeah.
worked for several firms back in Wall Street back, and they were just like that. You walk in, it's a room. We're making calls all day, and at the end of the day, you know, if you did good, sometimes the coaches would party, and you'd be full of surprises that the things that you shouldn't see, just like the movies.
Yeah. Yeah. We weren't quite like that, but we had the mindset of work hard, play hard.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh.
my liver, I had to learn to take
He
care of my
said.
liver better.
You
But
learn in
yes.
Santo Domingo, eat a lot of chicken before drinking. It helps you. That at least that's what some Dominicans used to tell me back in New
Okay.
York.
Well, yeah. So again, it's funny because if you saw me in the Dominican Republic and then you saw me a few years later, my life was completely different. And I was
Brother.
almost out of control. I wasn't quite out of control, but I was like the spring that just got sprung loose.
Oh
And
man.
now I was, before I was very conservative, reserved, missionary, never swore. And then I was dropping F bombs. I had to
Hey.
experience, I had to go from where I was to where I didn't want to be to where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Right. If that makes sense, because I
It's a
experimented
journey.
with, yeah, it's a
Journey. It's
journey.
a journey.
Right.
It's a journey. You
Yeah.
gotta know what do you want, but then sometimes what you want isn't what you want. So you gotta redirect it to make sure that the energy matches what you really want.
It's so true. Yeah. So there are things, I mean, I look back at some of the stupid things I did, and, we won't have to go into that, but all
Yeah,
things
but
are
we
good.
were
And
all young in life, and we've
yeah,
all experienced
exactly.
life, and we've done things, and it is what it is. But
Yeah,
that's all part of the journey that we try to teach the youngins, and they look at, oh, you're just being old fogies. No, we're trying to help you
exactly.
avoid maybe a potential stumbling block in this wonderful development in your life. Because again, look, Harry had to go through some stuff, to get to the point where he was finally said, "I'm happy." And
Right.
and when was that moment, Harry, specifically, when you said, "Oh man, I've reached my lane, my energy level that I need to be on, my
Oh my
frequency, if you
goodness.
will."
Yeah, Al, I can remember standing out over my deck in Virginia because we lived outside of DC. I'm overlooking the backyard. It was Friday afternoon. I had a martini in my hand, had 3 kids, wife, beautiful wife, and was making really good money. And I went, man, this is the life.
He remembers the moment. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that moment. But you know what? 2008 hit, 2009, and a lot of stuff I had in possessions went down the drain.
So a lot,
Tons of
yeah.
stress on the marriage. The bills were behind on, we overbought, just all kinds of stupidity. Learned all of that. My wife and I just we just went through it and just made it happen. And then we ended up, I left, we parted ways with that company where I was because I just didn't like the direction. I'm a sales, I love sales. I don't like micromanaging and spreadsheets.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
who does? Who
right,
does?
yeah,
Let me
not
be me. We're gonna make things
accountants.
happen. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, accountants
exactly.
maybe, but not me. So we ended up moving to Florida, and then I found a small company where I could be intrapreneurial, which is a little
Okay.
different than entrepreneur. The only
Ooh.
difference is I'm using someone else's business for my entrepreneurial drive.
Ah,
And
wait. What
yeah,
is this? So this is a real term? Is
it is.
intrapreneurial?
Yeah.
Really
Yeah. So this
interesting.
is where a
Love
lot
it.
of people don't necessarily know where they fit.
Okay.
Right. And so when you think that you're not getting enough love in your corporate job and you have all of these ideas and you just want a division to run, you want to do something that's got magnitude to it, and you're not getting that opportunity, it may not be running your own company. It may be finding another opportunity where the pressure isn't there to earn the income right away, right? Because you're getting paid and you're getting a chance to flourish. And so that's what I did. And I love that opportunity. And again, as far as feeling like you arrive, it's like I've always had these positions where I could have my own little empire inside of another company and then
Wonderful.
break out on my own, which I did a couple of years ago.
Excellent. Yeah, I get you, man. Because the industry gets to know who Harry this, Harry that. Absolutely. And then when Harry go on his own, it's like, yeah, we following Harry.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is that people sometimes they jump ship too early and they think, well, I'm going to have to go all in on my entrepreneurial journey and just stop, live off of savings. And then, inside of a year, they're back looking for a job because they can't go through the savings fast enough. Right. It's just, and that's tragic because then they give up on the dream. And I'm of the mindset is like, do it slowly, know yourself, right? If you can live off of the savings and not be stressed, not have the marital stress, family stress, health, then do that. But if that's not you, you got to know who you are. And if you're going to be comfortable going in gradually, it's like going into the pool. Do you want to jump in all at once? Or do you want to kind of walk in
Yeah,
gingerly and go slow by slow, step by step?
that's
It's
me, Harry.
yeah, no
That's
one
how
to
I've been.
judge, right? And how do you feel? I
Yeah,
mean, yeah,
that's
you
how
go.
I've been doing Comic Crusaders. This is how I've been doing that app. I take it slow. I grow it organically. I had a friend say that to me because there are companies that are similar to Comic Crusaders that are going through major changes. That I mean, that are
Yeah,
big companies though. Where Comic Crusaders we're small and independent, but this is a bigger conglomerate, and they're going through major changes. And you're like, God, you guys got to take advantage of this right now because hey, you're one of the few independents.
yeah,
So it's like, okay, how do I navigate that, Harry? This is why we're gonna get into what you're doing is selling with dignity. Talk to me about this because it's not just this wonderful book that you have out, but it's also a website. I'm about to share it on screen. But you know, talk to me. When did this present itself to you? When was this baby born
yeah.
in the head of Harry?
So the baby was born actually about 10 years prior to me writing it. I
Okay.
was again in downtown DC having a couple of martinis with a coworker and talking about how miserable I was. And I said, I should write a book. And I even had the name of it, which was Sell Like It's Your Mission, where I was
Okay.
going to
Ooh.
combine the mission life with sales.
Okay.
Well, 10 years went by pretty quickly. And then we're in COVID. And that's where I felt like I got the little voice on your shoulder saying, write the book.
It's time.
It's time. And so I started writing. And I felt like
Wonderful.
all these people that I've been around who were intimidated by sales, who just didn't feel like they could perform. And I could help those people by just kind of coaching them through it. It's like sales doesn't have to be ugly. And I thought of all these small business owners that could do better. And I said, I'm going to bring what I've learned from sales to these people and help them in my, world is make the world a little bit better, and help, small business owners become better at sales. So that's why I wrote the book to help people navigate, as you say, come up with a strategy And really, with a simple process and then using principles that we were all taught whenever we went to church, every religion teaches them, right? Be good to your neighbor, treat others the way you want to be treated, put others first, right? Love your neighbor, do all these things, right? And it's like this can be applied in sales. And so that was my sales training. Really, it came from that mission world. It worked. And then I'm just passing it on to the next group.
Oh, awesome. Check. Yeah. So, so it was during COVID. See, a lot of people talk bad about COVID, but for a lot of people, it was a time to get creative, right? And
Yeah,
navigate.
totally. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, how far back were you going here? I mean, did you have notes prior to the development of the book, or was it, or you just sitting down in front of a keyboard and tapping away?
Exactly. Al, it just flowed. It went, I mean, I was writing from memory,
You say flow with
right?
it.
I did not. I mean, there was virtually no research
He
in this
felt like
book.
Jay-Z writing that book. It was verse after verse of wonderful subjects and chapters, right?
It was. I mean, it's funny, but yeah, when you write like that, it's. I have this wealth of knowledge that I've accumulated in 20 plus years of selling in a
Wow, 20
competitive
years.
market.
Awesome.
So there's not a lot that I haven't come across. So I was just thinking of stories. I was combining the stories from the DR, the mission world, and people would offer us a beverage that was made out of fruit juice and river water.
Oh,
You knew that you
oh,
had to learn how to turn people down without offending people.
yeah.
So I tried to combine a bunch of these funny stories and interesting stories to make the
Oh
book
my God.
entertaining.
Are you serious with the river water, dude?
Oh yeah, cows would be crossing. Cows would be I'm pretty sure the cows were using the river as a toilet,
Oh,
and and
so I'm dying here. No, no, no. Thank you. No, thank you. Muchas
and so
gracias,
when
pana. I'm
people
good.
boiled the water, but you just didn't know. I mean, everybody in the DR that we knew as foreigners, extranjeros, were suffered with amoebas. We
Oh
made it
man.
out without having amoebas, but we just didn't drink.
You know what? It's because you're
Yeah.
from Mass, from the Northeast. So I'm up, I'm a New Yorker, but we're built a little differently, so maybe our stomachs could handle a little bit more mess than most.
That's right.
All right. And so talk about this wonderful website. What type of value and services are you providing on this dope website? 'Cause I see sales coaching, masterminds, boot camps. I mean, we could order the book. What's going on here, Harry?
Yeah. So really, if I'm looking to serve solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, people that either they're themselves that are looking to be better in sales, then we can have a conversation. And eventually, if you want to join a mastermind group or if you want one-on-one coaching to help for a short period of time, it's not like you need years and years of sales coaching to develop some skills. I think a big challenge that people who are alone in sales is they don't know what to do when someone's not saying yes right away. If
Yeah,
someone's not raising their hand saying, I'm ready, either people are too pushy or they're not,
they're
I don't want to say,
discouraged.
right? Yeah, exactly.
They're
So
discouraged. I mean,
they
I
get,
used to
yeah,
try sales, but it's not for me. I'm more in service.
yeah,
Let me help you, but I don't want to be pushing you. I don't like the sales routine. I could be a salesman. People think I would be a phenomenal salesman. But it's just not me. I feel
yeah.
sometimes it's like, but I would love to help people do that. I would teach you. I'll give you the energy, but it's just not me. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I
I'm
mean,
timid when
unless,
it comes to sales.
right. But whatever you do in sales, Al, you could be a tiny bit better,
Oh,
right?
everywhere,
You wouldn't be
all
afraid
times,
to be a little bit better,
of course.
right? And that's the thing is like, we don't have to shut it down completely because we don't like it. If we just look at some of the things we can do that we could be a little bit better to move the needle, that may get you an extra few deals a year. And
Yeah,
what's that worth? Right? If it's worth $5 grand or 25 grand or whatever the number is to be a little bit better.
Oh yeah,
That's my approach. It's like
I
you don't
love
have to
it.
become a superstar, but if you become a little bit better in your like in your communication, like you and I are just we're in sync here. But there are people that you probably walk away from saying, I just can't connect with that person.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Right?
like yeah, the
Yep.
energy is like it's like opposing magnets.
Exactly. So how do we connect with those
Like
people?
flip the magnet so we could connect,
Yes, exactly. And sometimes it's almost like playing the game of I can ignore you more than you can ignore me.
right? And then
Right?
there goes lost opportunity now because you
Well,
guys are both ignoring each other.
well, that's what you think, but you resurface and you just give little bits of value.
Okay, all right,
So you're not completely ignoring them, but you're not that salesperson that feels like he has to call every day.
got
So when I say it's like you may put someone in a sales process where you're just touching base once a month, even
hey
because
there,
you
just
know they're
checking in.
not. What's that?
Yeah, one of those hey there's checking in. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, yeah. Did you
Or
see that
you,
game last night? Hey, that was wonderful.
yeah,
All right, brother. I'll check on you.
exactly, and provide a little value. I read this article, or I thought of you. I found this article. Thought you might find it interesting. Eventually, people like that either they go away completely, or they will say things like "thanks." Right? Nothing to get extremely excited for, but once you get the thanks, one word, then you know you've got a little bit of a hook into the
Yes.
fish,
Yes.
right? And
You're
then you
starting to
just
build a network. You're starting to
exactly,
build something. You got him like a fish slowly. You
yeah.
reel him in, build a relationship, him or her, and you're done deal right there. That's what it is.
Yeah, and then you learn that these people they're quiet, they're reserved, they're not all overly talkative, and you just
Absolutely.
approach them in the same way, and it's like, "Hey, thought of you. What do you think about doing a quick meeting, 10 or 15 minutes, and I'll be out of your hair?"
Yeah.
And
Oh.
right where you're not you're already eliminating the fear that these people have that you're going to talk to them all day, you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to let them go. And if you say 10 or 15 minutes, get off the phone in 9 minutes. Right? Whatever
Oh,
you
love it.
say, get off sooner and let you say goodbye first, right? You end it first versus
Thank you.
them saying, I
Yes.
got to go. You got to
Yes.
say, I got to go because now you're leaving them like, oh my God, this is not what I expected, right?
Oh, brother, brother, I'll give you a hug right now. That's exactly how I love to also talk to people. I will allocate so much time at times, but
Yeah.
no, we're done before X amount, and they're like, "What? Yeah, that's it. Have a wonderful day and enjoy." And then they come back to me, "Oh man, I had a wonderful time. Thank you." When you respect people's time, that's very valuable.
It is. And no
That's
one
very
else
valuable.
does, right? So in business and
Yeah,
in sales, people are all about themselves
yeah.
and they just wear people out. And it's just like leave them refreshed.
Yeah, respect their time, and
Yeah.
oh my God, will they appreciate you? And one last thing before you go, because you also have a podcast, a
I
fellow podcaster on the scene right here. Harry does it all, folks. Sales Made Easy podcast. What is this? Talk to me.
Yeah, so the podcast is to help people to be better in sales. So I interview sales experts and entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people who are gone through the
Dope,
journey.
dope.
And we typically will raise some questions about sales or personal branding that will bring value. So as you scroll through those, I can look at the names and I can say, man, that one with Simon, Colin Smith,
Yeah,
that one on listening is going to improve anybody's relationships
really.
in business
Oh,
and in
dope.
their family. So find that one, Colin Smith, the listener. That's, I mean, hands down, the most value anyone could give in a podcast, I think, because you
Okay.
can take it personally. My wife thinks I'm like a new man.
Well, listen, after a long marriage, that ain't easy to achieve. So, Harry, I am proud of you on behalf of all husbands. There we go. And the big shout out, I see you got the big homie from Podmatch, Alex and Filippo, too, right there.
Yep.
I mean, I love his platform, Podmatch. I think he's doing so much to help the
He's great.
podcast
Yeah.
community. Get their stuff in line. And you have wow, I gotta listen to this. Seems that you got some heavy hitters on this lineup, Harry.
Yeah, that
So
fellow Landon talks about personal branding, which is a
awesome,
great conversation for entrepreneurs so that your messaging on social media is consistent, right? People
excellent.
know who you are. So yeah, I'm always trying to bring value to people. Some of them I probably talk too much, but in general, they're pretty good.
So all right, so talk to me. How often does this drop? So people are where? What platforms are you on?
So every Tuesday morning, and they are on. I use Captivate, so they go out to virtually everything:
Everything. All right,
Spotify,
wonderful.
Apple, Google Podcasts. I put up the video on YouTube. I'm a little slow on that, but yeah, they're everywhere.
No, excellent, folks. You hear this? This is a person that's out there that has navigated the business, has wonderful literature for you, wonderful website, and not just that, even a podcast. You got coaching services, all this good stuff. So, folks, you know what I mean? Harry here is here in service of. So, reach out. The website. It's right there, sellingwithdignity.com. He has a contact page. Feel free to reach out, show some love, let them know that Mega sent you. Amazing individual here. So before we go, Harry, what type of advice would you give to any new young entrepreneur coming up, trying to build up, especially in sales nowadays?
Yeah, talk to people. I mean, it's just you can hide behind your computer, you can send emails, you can be on social media. You need to have conversations. Nothing happens without the conversations. Build up the trust, put others first while you're conversing with them. Ask what they're doing. If they don't ask about you, don't tell them. Just speak, give people the respect. The ones that ask are interested, the others, they're not. Okay. And you
Oh,
don't want to be talking to people that aren't interested because that's gross. So just build a relationship so the people that are curious about you, good things will happen.
oh,
But just have those conversations now and you won't regret it. If you wait, I know people, I hear this all the time. Well, I'm going to wait because I'm going to build out my website. When you get better on social media, it's like you can build an empire by having conversations today.
yes,
Right. And a
yes.
year from now, those people will be in the market. If you wait a year, you're going to have to wait another year. Right.
Oh
So
man,
just get started early and having conversations.
get her
What do you
done
think?
essentially. Get her done
Get
essentially.
her done. I used to have that on my license plate.
Harry, but that's the thing. It's like Nike said, just do it. I mean, homie got it right too. Get her done. Just,
Get
it's
her done,
just
baby.
you know, uh, work hard, play hard. You got this. Nothing is ever overnight. Everything's is baby steps. And look at Harry. 20 years later, this man is happy, smiling throughout this podcast. Just talking about selling, talking about his journey, the books, and how he's in service of. I love the energy. Thank you, Harry, for coming on. A big shout out to Don for hooking us up as well, man. I appreciate it. I can't wait to read the rest of the book. 'Cause you definitely you got me inspired, brother.
It's
Will,
been a
will, Harry,
blast.
will Harry be the one that gets Almega into sales? Only time will tell. Because if I do, let me tell you, I'll give Harry a big shout out. Okay, this is the guy that pushed Mega over the edge. All right.
Love it. I love
All
it, Mega.
right, so there we go. One last time, you can follow Harry on LinkedIn and others. I'll be sharing them below. You can find him on LinkedIn, and of course, please visit the website once more. Sellingwithdignity.com, folks. Plethora of information there. All right, reach out to the big homie. Thank you for tuning in. Hasta la próxima. I appreciate you. Wepa! And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Mega Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed listening to the insights and stories from our guests. Remember, success is a journey, not a destination. And every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goals. Don't give up on your dreams and keep pushing forward. Until next time, thank you for tuning in and stay motivated.